To come to Western Serbia, it's a whole different experience.
Good morning. We checked into our Airbnb late last night here in Zlatibor after a really long day of traveling. About a 6-hour bus ride and then a 4 to 5 hour drive from Niš to here. And we are ready to get out and see this place. We're only here for 2 nights, so maybe about 2.5 days here in the area. So we have a lot to do, a lot to see, and it is cold. And it's supposed to be raining today, but we're gonna get out and make the best of it and see what we can check out today. So we drove about 30 minutes east of our Airbnb to come check out this open air museum. This place is called Stari Selo, which basically means old village, what I'm finding. And it just shows the layout and kind of how people lived here in the hills. So this whole place was built in the 1970s, 1980s. I read that these villages, when they built them on the hills, they purposely built them facing towards the sun. So it's about 5 hectares, and I think it's about 50 huts.
Throughout the whole village you can see there's a few workshops, like the pottery workshop, a casting workshop, and also a blacksmith workshop. And it just shows you the tools, what they used, and how they actually made everything work.
So the central place of the farmstead was the main house, and it's actually the highest point or house in the household. And I think this is the only place that has 2 doors. So one door was meant for good things coming in, and then the other door was meant for bad things going out. Like people that were sick or diseased or garbage, they would take out one way. This is where they would come and eat, and they would gather and they would chit chat about the next day's work or schedule, and they would sit down and they would have a big meal. So this whole open air museum here in the hills of Zlatibor just kind of gives you a glimpse of what life was like in the 1800s to early 1900s. And it's really cool that they took the time to replicate all this.
When you come here, there's like a little souvenir shop where you can buy some of the traditional stuff and some jams, which is pretty nice. And then also there's a little restaurant. If you want some coffee or some snacks, you can come right here and get that in.
They had an amazing cheese pie, and it wasn't quite like a barack. It was delicious. We had a Zlatibor tea. That was amazing. Also came with some fresh honey. On to the next stop. Next stop, Stopica Pecina. It's a cave. We just learned that this cave is named after a village that's just right here in the area, and I believe they own the land, either this land or the land surrounding, so that's why it's called Pecina Cave. That is so cool. Do you see all of these sparkles right here in the, this is not because somebody sprinkled glitter all over the place. It's quartz. So if you've ever seen like a quartz countertop, quartz granite countertop in kitchens or whatever, and you see all the sparkles, that's what this is. Isn't this cool? We could see it walking up. It was just shimmering in the light. So if you've ever been in a cave or seen pictures about a cave, I'm sure you've seen these long things hanging down from the ceiling and then other like super skinny things shooting up from the floor. Those are stalagmites and stalactites. And basically it's just water or moisture kind of coming through from up above, and it's this slow dripping process. And you can see right here, like this is really wet, this is really dry, and then when it drips down, it just leaves this deposit of limestone.
This pool behind me that we have right here, it's all formed from stalagmites and stalactites. The water fell from top and it's made out of calcium carbonate, some limestone, and then iron. And the deepest one over here is about 7.2 meters, and then the shallowest one is about 2.5 centimeters. So this waterfall that we just walked by is called the Spring of Life. The reason being, even if the whole cave is dark, there's light coming through and shining right on the waterfall. And then the water that comes from there is obviously the water that forms the cave as well.
So just about 30 minutes from where we just were, we're stopping at one of the, I guess, sights to see here in Zlatibor, and it's the Gaustili Waterfall. That big waterfall we just saw, I read it's about 20 meters high. And if you come here, make sure you go all the way down. At first we were thinking that it was just that waterfall, but it forms all these little waterfalls kind of like cascading down, and it eventually joins the Katushnika River. But this is awesome. It's a really long path actually with a ton of little waterfalls. This place feels like a magical fairy tale land. It's like either a set off of Peter Pan or Lord of the Rings. The water is so clear and it has this little tint of green in it. And there's a ton of waterfalls. It's not just that big one. We can't stay long here because we have about an hour's drive to our next destination. After a little bit longer drive than expected, I had the wrong thing typed into the GPS. So note, Uvac viewpoint. Signs were pretty good getting us here. So let's see. I'm not sure if we took the long way here or if we went the right way. But it was an awesome drive nonetheless. It took us through a lot of farmlands. We even had a little traffic jam on the way here with some cows. It was a beautiful drive, even stopped along the way and just took in the views. I think we're approaching.
Great day today to come up here, I think. This is crazy.
This is so cool. It doesn't even look real. You can see the sun's trying to peek out from behind the clouds. Oh, it's so nice. This is amazing. This is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. Wrong turn or not, well worth it. Thank you to whomever built this lovely sturdy dock that we're standing on so we can have this amazing view behind us. And what an amazing end to the day. This is awesome. I think we're just gonna sit out here for a few moments and just take it in.
This is something else. You come to Western Serbia, it's a whole different experience.
So on that note, Good night.